Hello and welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David, and today I want to do a pickup video and share some of the things that I have picked up or found over the past several months. I haven't done one of these videos since I believe Strongsville, which has been a few months. So I wanted to share a few of the things that I've added to my collection. And part of that has been finding things, and that's happened here over the past few months as we've been getting ready for the baby. Today is actually my wife's due date, so any moment now. Little baby girl number 4 could be joining the family. We're really excited about that. And one of the things that in the process of all of that, we've kind of had to clear out this office space here and turn it into a half nursery, half office. And so we got rid of a lot of books. In the process of getting rid of books that we don't use or need anymore, went through and found a couple of things in the books. The first one was this. So this is a ticket from the Ohio State-Michigan game back in 2012. And this was a game I went to with my brother. My sister was a student at Ohio State at the time, and so she had a student pass, and my brother and I got to go to that game. And that was the year that Ohio State was banned from postseason, but they went undefeated. So beating Michigan was their last game of the year, but it completed the undefeated season, and we got to storm the field together, and that's just a great memory that I have. So I was surprised to come across that ticket in one of the books that I had been using it as a bookmark, I guess probably 10 years ago, and just happened to come across it. The other one is also Ohio State related. This is another thing that was in a book, probably as a bookmark, but this was the first college football playoffs. This was my parking ticket to the championship game, which Ohio State won. So I don't actually have a ticket from that game because it was kind of a crazy story. I was in seminary at the time and wanted to go to the game. I was living in Arlington, only about 5 minutes from the stadium where the championship game was playing. And with Ohio State being there, I was like, I've got to find a way to get there. And so I couldn't afford the face value ticket, which was about $500. And so I found somebody on Craigslist, which is sketchy to begin with, who was selling tickets for $200 standing room only. And he had said, you don't have to give me money until you get into the stadium. And I think he had some sort of a connection with a guy that was scanning tickets to basically let people in with fake tickets. I don't know exactly how it happened because he went up and talked to a guy, scanned a bunch of tickets, and then we all went in and he handed us tickets. So it was all very sketchy. I have no idea what happened, but I made it into the game, got to see Ohio State win the championship, and I still have my parking pass from that because I had to get that somewhere else. So that's the only official piece of memory of going to that game that I have, as well as a program and some cups and other things, pieces of confetti. So those are the non-card related items that I found as we were cleaning up, and was kind of glad to set those aside and put them in the collection of pieces of memorabilia that are good memories for me. So from here I want to share some other things, and I'll turn the camera around so we can take a look. So first up, this is part of my Cubs team run of the Topps Gold that I'm doing. This is Imanaga's rookie card from last year. No, these are all numbered to the year, so this is number 2, 2024. So I was able to pick this one up, and this will actually end up going in a binder that I have for all the golds, which includes the golds from the early 90s, like 92 through 94, and then in 2001, I'm trying to put together the whole run of the Chicago Cubs team. This is a card that I got back in April, and it seems like just another Topps Now card. It's obviously a significant event because Ohtani went 50-50, and this is the Topps Now card celebrating that. But the special thing about this card is that my brother picked it up for me when he went to Japan. So I had asked him, hey, if you come across any baseball cards while you're there, I would love it if you could pick me up something. I gave him a couple things that I thought would be cool if he was able to find. And he said this was really the only thing he could come across that was of American players. He also found these cards, which are of Japanese league players, and this is a TCG baseball game. I can't really read any of it because I don't know how to read this, but this was kind of cool to get some cards from Japan, and especially the Ohtani. He said that Ohtani was just everywhere over there. Obviously a huge celebrity in Japan. This is The 2022 Ernie Banks from the Gilded Collection, which this is another set that I'm trying to put together. I guess I probably have a thing for gold cards, which I'm doing the gold and the gilded sets. But I only need 2 more to get caught up to this year, and just trying to do those are all numbered, so trying to get the ones that are numbered to 99, or some of the rookies are to 199. Next up, I have been picking up some cards for the Ken Burns collection, which is trying to pick up a card for every player or person that's mentioned in the Ken Burns documentary. And these are a couple of the lower end cards I went through a month ago and just tried to find all the cards that I had that are $1, $2 cards. And some of these are people like Charlie Finney, who is the owner of the Athletics, and infamously sold off his team, tried to just straight up sell players that were nearing the end of their contract just to get money. And so that's what this card represents, is, as an owner, his attempt to just get money for players and straight up trade players for cash who are nearing the end of their contracts. And that whole ordeal, the trades were canceled, and they came back to the players and they lost them at the end of the year. So this is kind of an example of this. This is from 1991 Foul Ball. Believe Finney's first card. He doesn't really have anything else. And then there's some other cards like this where Bud Fowler, he was a minor leaguer, African-American minor leaguer, who was never able to make it to the majors because of the gentleman's agreement. And so he doesn't have any cards except for this, I believe might be his first one. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is from the 1994 Ted Williams set. And then other players who just don't have any playing days cards are the women who played in the GBPL during World War II, the Girls Professional Baseball League. And this is Mary Pratt. This is the 1994-95. There's 94-95. Larry Frisch put out 2 sets of these celebrating the women that played in that league. And so for many of them, these are their first cards. So those were... I picked up some more cards like that on ComC that will come whenever I do the shipment. Then going back a few years to 1952, this is Mother's Cookies, Clay Hopper. This is him managing for the Portland Beavers. He was the manager for Montreal when Jackie Robinson first went to Montreal and began his journey to play for the Dodgers. And so Hopper was originally very reluctant to have Jackie on the team, and was himself quite racist in his opinions of Jackie, but throughout the course of the season really changed his tune and came to understand, I think, a lot more about the value that Jackie was adding to the team and to the organization. This is 1949 Bob Chipman. This is Bowman. This is part of my Bowman Cubs team run, so I've completed the Topps run. I still need a few cards actually from 2025 Topps that I didn't quite pick them all up yet because it just came out. So I have all the Topps done, but for Bowman, this is the 4th to last. I need 3 more cards to complete my Cubs Bowman run from the 40s and 50s, and they're all from the 49 set. Next up, I wanted to pick this one up at Strongsville, but then I picked this one up later and wanted to share both of them together because this is kind of one of the early rainbows from 1941 Gaudy, where these cards came in red, blue, yellow, and green. And so you have a very stark, different background. I know some people don't care for the solid color background and the black and white image, but I kind of think the design is interesting, and the fact that there's different colors creates a unique collecting opportunity for something in the 40s when there's not a whole lot of variety during that time frame. This I picked up for a type just to have an example from 1928 exhibits, and this is Elwood English, or Woody English, who played for the Cubs, and just a blank back, has a sticker on the back. And then getting into the early tobacco cards or caramel cards. This is E90-1 Chief Bender, part of some of the early great athletics teams, a great pitcher, and this is part of the Ken Burns collection that I'm doing. So there's the $100,000 infield with the athletics, which I'm trying to put together from the E90-1 set, and then I put Chief Bender with that as well because he was a significant contributor for that team in the late 1900s, early 1910s. Then I've been picking up quite a few of the Southern Leaguers for T206, so I'll show some of these here. This is Jimmy Hart, Ed Regan, and these are all Piedmont 350 backs. Cad Coles, Charles Seitz, and James Lafitte, played for Macon. So I've been, with the Monster T206 set, been trying to focus on these Southern Leaguers and some of the rarer cards, also trying to save up for a bigger card, which might be a national purchase. We'll see. Then this one is Harry Covaleski, which is a little bit of a rarer back with EPDG. Not the most common, but was excited to pick this one up. I'll share a story about this one in a little bit, but I'll turn the camera around for that story. And then the last pickup is my first Old Judge. And this one's quite faded. This is Count Mullane. He played for Cincinnati. He was an ambidextrous pitcher, and so he would pitch with both hands. And this is part of the Ken Burns collection. He was, kind of noted for that, for his ability to pitch with both hands in the 1800s. So saw this come up and it's in pretty rough shape, but a lot of these cards are, if they're not totally faded out, it's, pretty decent. So this is a card from 1888, which makes it, 137 years old. So now back to this card. So Harry Covaleski, he had a brother, Stanley Covaleski, who also played, and Harry was known as the Giant Killer because he, early in his career, had a string of wins against the New York Giants. And he's part of the reason why the Cubs were able to make it to the World Series in 1908. There was the whole incident with Merkel's boner and the play that Merkel made, which caused that game to get somewhat canceled out and had to be replayed. But the only reason the series was tied between the Giants and the Cubs at the end of that season, the reason they had the same record, was because Covaleski pitched so well against the Giants and beat them. And so he became known as the Giant Killer, but after a few years, he lost that moniker because he lost his ability to win games. He kind of, the way Christy Mathewson described it is he lost his edge. And the story that Christy Mathewson tells is perhaps a fable, but I think it's a fantastic story. And so I want to share that to close out here. And the way that Mathewson tells it in his book, which was his autobiography or kind of a writing about the times, called Pitching in a Pinch. And he talked about Covaleski and how he was so dominant against the Giants in the 1908 and early 1909 season. And the way he tells the story is that John McGraw, the manager for the Giants, picked up a tip from a scout or a manager from another team that had been able to get the best of Covaleski. And the story went that Covaleski had nerves when it came to the sound of a snare drum. And so the manager or the scout told McGraw, if you just stand in the dugout and make a sound of a snare drum, kind of, you'll get under his skin. And so McGraw figured he had nothing to lose, and so he tried it, and it worked. It seemed to shake his nerves for some reason, and afterwards McGraw went back to this guy and said, how did you know that would work? And he said that he had heard a story that when Covaleski was in high school, he was trying to impress this girl, and the girl said she would only date a musician. And so he decided to learn drums, and learned to play the snare drum, and during a marching band performance he completely messed up the drums, and the girl said that she would never go out with him, and it was an incredibly embarrassing moment for Covaleski. As at least that's the story that Mathewson tells, and so whenever the snare drum would come up during the game, Covaleski would get nervous or get reminded of that, and it would throw him off his game, and he wouldn't be able to focus on pitching. I don't know if that story is true or not. There's some other things that kind of contradict that story, but I think it's a fantastic story either way, whether it's legend or truth. So that's the story of Harry Covaleski, and why I was happy to pick this one up for the Monster, and also wanted to kind of get it in a little bit more of a rare back because of the cool story associated with that. So those are some pickups. With the National coming up, right now I'm planning on attending, but with the baby coming, we'll see how everything goes. It's something that I'm holding loosely, but hoping to be able to see many of you there, and planning on trying to attend on the 31st, which will be the YouTube Hangout. Also happens to be my birthday, so hopefully a fun day. If I don't make it, I hope everyone has a great time, and I'll probably be looking to try to pick something up here from home. So thank you for watching. This has been Cardboard History.